Hi everyone and welcome to our next tutorial. In this tutorial we're going to learn how to remove a background from a photo. We might have a really good photo that we like, but the background might be terrible and we want to replace the background with something else. So we're going to try to figure out how to do that in this tutorial. So first thing after you brought the image in, as we typically do, we're going to go and duplicate the original layer and then close the visibility for that layer so that we are working with the background copy. Now, this photo was taken with this background here, and like I said, we really don't like this background, and we are going to replace it with a simple white background. So how are we going to do that? Well, first, I'm going to crop this photo. It's because I have a lot in the background, and I'm going to try to eliminate it. So let me crop this photo like so. So we have this image here. Now I'm going to zoom in and take a look at the details here. Now, in order to remove the background, we are going to use this tool up here. Now, there's a number of different tools that can sit in this place. If I click on this area right here, you might have any one of these tools already selected. So be careful. We do not want the magic wand tool. We want the quick selection tool. So make sure that that tool is selected. And the other thing to watch out for is we have a couple different things we can do. We can add to a selection or we can subtract from that selection. We want to add to the selection to start with. You can change the brush size to what you feel you need. And I'm going to start here. You can see the brush is this big. And when I click on this, what it does is it creates a dotted line. And we are just going to try and select her. Now, sometimes the selection tool doesn't work the way we want it to. If you notice down here, I didn't want this selected. So I have to go over to the subtract function and click on the outside and actually push that back in so that that is not selected. Now I can zoom in here if I want, and I can just carefully make sure that I've got everything selected here. Like I said, we've also gone outside here, so I'm going to push this back in. And same here, I'm just going to push this back in a bit. So we have that. So we've got her fingers selected, her body selected. And now we're going to go up to her face and hair. I'm going to make the brush a little bit smaller. And then I'm going to go to add because I want to go back and add to the selection. And I'm going to add in everything up here. Now notice it did pop up and it caught a lot of her hair. We want to make sure the selection does not go outside her hair too far. I'm going to go back to subtract here because I noticed that this should be pushed in here. So I'm just going to push this in right against her neck. And I'm just going to check the hair, make sure it hasn't gone outside the hair. I'm actually going to push this down a little bit here. And this looks okay around here. I'm actually just going to push this back in just a little bit. Might have come out a little too far because we're actually going to fix that later. All right, so we have all of her selected using this tool here, the quick selection tool. Now we're going to go to refine edge. And the first thing I want you to do is make sure that you've got smooth set to 0, feather is set to 0, contrast set to 0, and shift edge should be close to 0 as well. Got it -1. That's close. So what we're going to do now is we are going to use the tools to try to Photoshop the hair properly. As you can see right now, we're missing parts of the hair, you can see it's cut off by the selection, and we want it to look a lot more natural than it does. So to do that, we are going to use this edge detection, the radius tool. And you can notice when I slide this here, I'm going to slide it all the way to the right. And you can see what it did. It ended up selecting a whole bunch of things outside the radius that we actually want. So I'm going to slide this back gently, and you're going to see the changes that take place. So right now we have a radius of about 20 pixels. And if I just move this box over here and I just go and check everything down here, there's a few things that we can repair later, but the first thing is to get the radius correct. It's better to be a little bit too small, so I'm going to be down around 10 pixels. All right, now next thing is when you click on view and you click this little drop down menu, we can take a look and see what the selection looks when it's on white, or when it's on black, or when it's on something called black and white, and we'll talk about that in a bit. Or we can look at what the original looked like. And I can switch from one of these layers to another just by clicking on W for on white or B for on black. I'm going to put her on a white background, so I might want to switch between W and R so I can see what I'm working on, and then go back to white so I can look at my selection. So I'm going to click on that. And when you click back in here on the view, then this is what we have. Now if I zoom in and I just take a look at the hair. Now if I go to show radius, I can actually see the radius that's been selected. And if you can notice here, there's still that hairs that are going outside that radius. And what I need to do is manually add some of those hairs. So I'm going to go back and turn off show radius. And the way I do that is I'm going to switch between R, so I can see that there's hair over here, and white, so that I'm going to click across. And what it's going to do is it's going to search for those extra hairs. And notice it doesn't actually select the background, which we don't want, but it will select those hairs. And again, I'm going to click on R for reveal, click on white, and again, I can see that there's some hairs here that I do want selected. Got some fantastic curls here. I want this to look natural, and I don't want them cut off. So again, if we go back to reveal there, we got most of that. And if I click in here, we're going to get those hairs inside here. Go back up a bit, go to reveal, take a look, there's hairs in here that we want selected. Now, you can see that I ended up getting this piece here. We can go back and fix that manually after. That's not her hair. That's part of the background. So again, we've got hairs up here that we want to select. So, like so. And again, we ended up with that bar in the back. We'll have to be careful. We'll come back and we'll fix that after. But by going around, we can get all the curls so that those curls are not cut off. And if we want to go to reveal, we can take a look at reveal, make sure we're on track. And just check it again with reveal. So We do have some more hairs here. Now, when you do this, you're going to find that it doesn't always produce a perfect result. You're going to find that it really depends on how the hair is, how this tool will work. Sometimes it will work better than others depending upon how the hair is, how the resolution of the image is. There's a number of factors that play into this. So there, I'm going to zoom out. So there, we've got those beautiful curls selected. I'm going to go back to here. And what you can do if you wish is you can use feather, and you can slide feather over if you wish. I'm going to over exaggerate just so you can see what happens. And what it does is it goes outside of those areas that you've selected. The only problem is you lose quite a bit of definition when you do that, so you have to be careful. So I'm going to have it at 1 pixel around there and keep it like that. Now, output's very important. We want to output to something, and typically what we'll do is we will output to a new layer. So I'm going to click on that and click OK. And there. What we have is the selections completed. We can tell that we have a transparent background because we have these checkers in the back. We want to put a white background in. So I'm going to go to Layer, New Fill Layer, Solid Color. We'll call it white. Click OK. And remember from previous that white has a value of 255, 255, and 255. There is our white now. It's above the layer of our photo, so we want to make sure that we click and drag it down. And there, we have that. Now, we should go back now. We've put a white background in, and we can go back and just fix some of the imperfections that we see. We're going to do that with the eraser tool. You're going to click on the eraser tool, and you can change the size of it. You can change the opacity of it to fix any imperfections. So that was part of, oops, we want to make sure that we're on the right layer. We should be on the background layer. So I'm going to go Control Z and go to the background layer. So when we click on that, we can just get rid of that bar that was in the back, and I'm just going to fix some of the pieces around. You might want to zoom in when you do this just so we can see our edges carefully. And I'm going to make my brush smaller. Again, you can change the strength of the eraser. I've got it set to maximum, so just be careful with that. So I'm just going to clean up some of the edges here and zoom out a little bit so I can see. We do have some imperfections here, so we'll just quickly fix that. Take a look around here, see if there's anything else you can see. There's imperfection here. And around that shoulder. And so there, we've taken a photo and we've used the selection tool to try and remove a background, put in a new background. I selected white because it gave us a nice contrast against her dark hair and her dark skin. That's how you use the selection tool. That's how you can remove a background. Try this now and post it on your website. Take care. We'll talk to you soon.